you doing? I'll let you know in a half hour. I want to thank everybody for coming to Ignite. Thank you for coming to What's New with Windows Hello. We've got a great session for you. It's going to be end-to-end, so I just want to preface that we want questions, but we won't have time. But what Abba and I will do is we will be out in the lobby, and we'll also be at the Windows Hello booth. So if you do have questions, you can either see us out there after the presentation, or you can stop by the Windows Hello booth. We'll be there up until the event tonight. So with that, I'm Mike Stevens. I'm a program manager in the product group. I work on Windows Hello directly, and I focus on the administrative experience, trying to make it more simple to deploy, which we're getting better and better. And we're going to show you some new things here. Before I get into this deck, I want to be able to say thank you to you guys for allowing me. I get to come and get to meet customers all the time, but we're recording this. And what you're missing is a part of the team that actually does all the magic, which is our developer group and our data science group. So I'd like to actually ask you guys to give them a big round of applause for Windows Hello. See if you can make some noise. Come on, make some noise for them. Thank you so much. Those are the unsung heroes that don't get to actually come and interact, and we really want to make sure that we show the appreciation to them. So let's get on with adoption of Windows Hello. I'm going to start out with some numbers here real quick. So this slide was what we presented at Ignite last year. And at this time, Windows Hello was about 2.5 years after general launch. And they were pretty good numbers, but we were like, well, it's about 2.5 years. We had some learning curves. We failed fast and improved. But we said we need to do better. So we put on a mission to do better, and I'm happy to say that we did do better. Thank you to you guys. We've gone up from 200 unique enterprise customers to 6,500 unique enterprises in 1 year. Our largest deployment went up to 123,000. That's one single enterprise that's deployed Windows Hello for Business. And we're up to 69 million users worldwide that are using Windows Hello. So this is all of you guys deploying Windows Hello, asking us for feedback. So thank you very much to you guys for making that happen. We really appreciate that. This is how great Windows Hello is. We get customer feedback. If you went to Alex's session, he stole our quote. No, we actually stole his, but BT loves Windows Hello. And they are deploying it to all their devices, to all their users. And the great thing about Windows Hello is you don't have to encourage users to use it. The minute they get to sign in with their face or their biometrics, it's just a great experience. And for the IT guys, us pros in the room, the experience is great, but we also have the security because they're not signing in with passwords. Let's get a round of applause for who hates passwords. All right, good. So what's new in Windows Hello? So we're going to do, we did 1803 launch, and in there, we did some integration with some vendors. I'm going to show you some of that integration here in a minute, where we made third-party management APIs for identity management software. So if they wanted to trigger the Windows Hello enrollment experience, and more importantly, if they wanted to push search down to Windows Hello, so that way they could have certificates like an SMIME cert protected to that Windows Hello gesture. So then user just gets that strong cert, but it's hardware protected, and they can do it with their fingerprint or their face. So that's one of the things we did. We also have this great feature called multi-factor unlock, which makes you require more than one factor, such as PIN or biometrics, or what we've been using is trusted signal. In our trusted signal provider, we've added support for Wi-Fi. So now you can actually take some of the artifacts that you get back from that Wi-Fi connection, use those as a decision to say you're in a trusted environment, and then they can just sign in with their biometric rather than having more PIN and biometric. So those are some things we did in 1803. Upcoming in 1809 is we're adding remote desktop support with biometrics. And we're going to demo that for you shortly. And then passwordless Azure AD join. Some of you, who went to Alex's session for passwordless? Good portion of you, great. So in there they showed you how we're going to use the Authenticator app to do sign-in. Today, with the demo gods being nice to me, I'm going to show you how to do Azure AD join with the Authenticator app. So the first thing I want to do is we partnered on our third-party APIs with a great company called Interseed. They do identity management, and they are really good at integrating certificate enrollment. And so we asked Interseed to provide a short video about some of the features of the MyID application and how they've integrated it into managing Windows Hello. So let's take a look at that video.
I'm Alan Story. story from Interseed. This video demonstrates how our MyID solution can be used to collect additional certificates into a Hello for Business container and then use those certificates for signing and decrypting emails. Let's first look at collection. Our self-service agent informs Sam there are additional certificates to collect. Sam decides to collect them now. As we are going to inject recovered keys into an existing container, we first double-check Sam's identity. We then generate a new key pair on the device, the private key never leaving the device and the public key being passed to the MyID server. MyID then connects to the CA to request and retrieve the certificate and writes the new certificate to the device. Now MyID recovers an archived encryption certificate from the CA and injects the private key into the Hello for Business container. MyID can recover multiple certificates if required. The operation is completed and Sam can now close the agent. Here, Sam opens an encrypted email from David, a supplier. To decrypt the message, Sam's private key is used, which is protected by Hello for Business. Sam can therefore be sure that only he can read the private email. Sam now replies to the message, digitally signing it with a certificate and private key secured in the Hello for Business container. As PIN caching is enabled, Sam doesn't need to provide his PIN or fingerprint again. On reading the reply, David, the supplier, can be sure that the response really came from Sam and has not been tampered with, as the digital signature is valid. In summary, Hello for Business replaces passwords with strong two-factor authentication. Interseed provide the ability to add additional certificates into the Hello for Business container, extending the supported use cases. If you want to find out more, please visit our website, drop us an email, or talk to the Microsoft product team who can connect us.
Not bad, huh? Getting S/MIME certs down. There's a lot of that needs that certificate into protected Windows Hello, and we want to make that just as secure. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over to some demos, and the first one I'd like to start with is showing you RDP with biometrics. So the environment that I have right now is a Azure AD joint, Azure AD hybrid environment with using certificate trust with Windows Hello. The user I'm going to sign in is Kim, and so I'm going to sign in with using my fingerprint. Now you see Kim signed in. So what I have on my desktop here is I have 3 shortcuts to remote desktop. So I'm going to go to this first one here, and I'm going to launch that because I want to do that remote desktop session. It's now asking for my fingerprint, where normally would ask for a PIN. I'm going to put my fingerprint on here. Now what we've done is we've established the session. We're now connecting to the remote desktop, and soon we're going to see the actual desktop, and you're going to see the server that I actually connected to in the desktop. From there, I can start actually managing my servers using my personal machine. Now you can see here I've connected to a 2019 server, and now I can go ahead and do my remote duties by still through remote desktop. So this is a great jump server scenario for admins. But I know some of you are thinking, well, that's a 2019 server. You've got new hardware, new server, new code. So let me jump down to this other server here, and I'm going to get the same prompt. And now I'm connecting to this server. This is a 2012 R2 server. There's no special software on the 2012 server. You just keep it patched, and you'll be able to connect to your 2012 servers using RDP, Windows Hello for Business. So that's the biometrics with Windows Hello and RDP. So what do you think of that one? So now I'm going to switch over and show you the Azure AD join one. So give me a second here to close this laptop and move another one over. All right. So this is what we call the out-of-box experience. And what you're seeing here is I'm ready to sign into my really long tenant name. And I pre-typed that so you can't see how terrible I am at typing. So what I'm going to do is I have my phone here with the Authenticator app, and I'm going to unlock the phone here and get ready because what's going to happen is again, the demo god's being nice to me. I'm going to hit next here, and it's going to try to authenticate me. And it's saying, oh, hey, match the number. So let me make sure I match the number. I match the number on my Authenticator app. You see me doing it here. Now it's going to go just a minute because now I'm MDM joining, Azure AD join. Now I'm past it. I'm already authenticated. Now it's going to set up the device. We're not going to sit through the rest of this, but what's going to happen after this is next it's going to make me enroll in Windows Hello. I've already two-factored auth, so I won't be asked for two-factor auth. So I've Azure AD joined, I MDM joined, I'm going to enroll in Windows Hello. I'm also going to enroll in biometrics, and I did it all with not ever typing a password into the Windows. This is the future of passwordless. So that's it for the demos now. Windows Hello is great for a one-on-one experience, but a lot of you have shared computer experiences. And to help me explain it to you better than I can, let me introduce you to Abba. Abba's a PM on our team, and she's going to tell you some new exciting things of what we're doing for Windows Hello for shared computers. Take it away, Abba.
Thanks, Mike. Hey, everyone. As Mike mentioned, I am a program manager in the Windows team, also part of the product group. And I'm excited to talk to you about shared PCs. Now, before we get there, so Mike talked to you about Windows Hello and all of the features that we are adding in Windows Hello. Now, that's great because it enables more scenarios and enables all of our customers to move with us in our journey towards passwordless. Now, Windows Hello for Business works great when I have a dedicated machine that I go back to every single day. It's a perfect scenario for me where I go up to my desk every day. I've set up my Windows Hello using my face. I've established my credential on that device. And pretty much once I log in using my face, I get single sign-on to all of my apps and services. But then what about users who don't go back to the same machine every single day? Think about a manufacturing line where you have a row of PCs there. And typically during a day, a user moves from one machine to the other. They need to quickly and securely log in, perform their actions, and then move on to the next machine. Or think about a classroom, for example, where a teacher is handing out devices to students using a shared card. Now, not necessary that the same student gets the same device each time. Or think about an IT call center, or even a hospital, where physicians and nurses need to go from room to room to look at patients. There may be devices in each room where they need to quickly and securely log in to watch this patient data. Now, asking all of these users to go and enroll on each and every device is really unscalable. But what if you could carry Windows Hello with you, right? So you could get that same great user experience of logging in with your biometrics, same security as Windows Hello, without having to enroll on each and every device that we are going to. So I'm happy to introduce Windows Hello security keys. They work great for shared PCs. Now I want to walk you through the life cycle of how we envision this feature to work in an enterprise. So let's walk through this journey with three personas that I have here. Stephanie, who's an IT admin at Contoso, Sana, who's a store manager, and Garth, who's a new sales associate at the store. So Stephanie, who's the IT admin, learns about Windows Hello security keys at Microsoft Ignite, and she wants to try this out at her store. Now, Sana, who's a store manager, has a new employee, that's Garth. What she does now on day one, like you would provision a badge for the new user, what she does is verifies his identity and provisions a security key for him. Now, what Garth can do is he can go ahead and set up his biometrics, a fingerprint or a PIN on his device, and now he can use that to log into any device on the floor. Now, in a especially busy day, Garth manages to misplace his key. So what he does is he goes and tells Sana about it. Now, Sana, as the admin, what she can do is go ahead and revoke that key from his account and then assign a new key to him. And then to close out the life cycle, when Kart's contract is up, Sana can revoke all of the security keys associated with this account. Now, enough about the story. I want to show you how this experience works. So I want to show you first these 2 security keys that I have with me. I don't know if you guys can see it. But the first one I want to show you is a USB biometric key. It has a fingerprint sensor on it. It's manufactured by a company called Fatian. And on this side, I have a Yubico key, which is USB and NFC. And I've protected it with a pin. So let's look at the biometric experience first. All right, so this is a shared PC. I've never been to this before. What I do is I plug in my USB key here. Now, as soon as I plug the device in, Windows asks me to take action. Now, because this is a biometric key, I go ahead and place my fingerprint on the key. And as soon as I do that, I get passwordlessly signed in to my machine. Now, along with that, I get single sign-on to all of my apps and resources. Now, the cool thing about this is if you watched me, I did not enter a password, nor did I enter a username. So I don't need to type anything. I just need to walk up, plug my security key in, and I'm logged in. Isn't that cool? Now, I want to switch over and show you another experience. Using an NFC key. Now, some of you might not be, people might be wearing gloves, not very comfortable using biometrics. So we have another form factor, which is this Yubico key. This uses NFC, and I've protected it using a pin. Now, I walk up to a PC. I tap my key. As soon as I tap the key, it asks me to enter a pin. It asks me to tap again. And that's it. I'm in. Now, again, with the same experience, I get single sign-on to all of my apps and resources, never having to enter a username or a password again. Now, a couple of things to note is my credential has been already provisioned on this key. When I'm doing a logon, it's a full profile logon into this machine. So it's not a generic account that I'm using to log in. I'm doing a full profile logon. And we've also made some improvements to improve the sign-in time on this device. If you have questions about that, please see me outside, and I'll be happy to walk you through that. All right, so what you saw right now are 2 form factors of a growing ecosystem of devices. You saw a USB biometric key. You also saw a USB NFC pin. But what this technology is really built on is FIDO2, which is an open standard. And it's not something which is proprietary to us. It's an open standard which we are working with a lot of industry partners on within FIDO Alliance. Now, FIDO stands for Fast Identity Online. And it's basically a collaboration of over 250 companies who are trying to solve this problem. So soon you'll be seeing a lot more security keys coming out with different form factors. So you can imagine a badge being a security key. You can imagine a wearable, or even my Apple Watch being a security key in the future. Now, in spring of this year, we announced this feature to our selected TAP customers who wanted to try. We wanted to make sure this scenario resonates with our customers, and we asked them to sign up for a private preview for this feature. Little did we know, we got overwhelming response from our customers, where over 750 of them signed up for previewing this. So obviously, we could not accommodate everyone into the private preview, but for a few customers who were lucky enough to get into the preview and try it out, this is what they had to say. Emirates, for example, they have a lot of flight crew who's on the go and need to quickly and securely log in to shared devices. And they found this is really easy to use. And they look to actually give out these FIDO2 HID badges to all of their employees because they find that easy to deploy, easy to use, great user experience to log in. And similarly, we have New Signature, who had the same kind of problem. They had users who are logging into multiple devices and pretty much setting up Windows Hello on every single machine. So they found this feature really useful because now they could just have their users carry a device with them and then quickly and securely log in without having to use the same PIN on every device. Now I'm going to hand it back over to Mike to talk about the road forward. Thank you.
Thanks, Saba. So if you were at Alex's presentation on Tuesday, they showed the same thing. This Windows Hello security key is FIDO2 on Windows. But because Azure spans cross-platform, you can also use those FIDO2 keys in Azure directly, and that's the video that you saw what Alex and Manini show you. So Azure, Microsoft, Windows, we're all getting together on the road to passwordless. And the first step in passwordless is you need an alternative identity. So Windows Hello security keys, and FIDO2 is the alternative identity. So let's talk the road forward. What are we planning? I get this a lot at the booth. Some of the things that we're talking about, the deployment model. The deployment model, we've made it better, but we can do better. It's still a distributed system. It still has a lot of knobs to turn, and we want to make it very, very clean for admins to deploy this. This is the easiest way to get people to deploy is if you can make the deployment simple and make the management simple. So that's what we're going to do. Also, further down the road, we have two trust models, if you're familiar with this, Key Trust and Cert Trust. We did Cert Trust as a way for people who didn't want to upgrade domain controllers to 2016 to where they could still start the journey of passwordless by using Windows Hello with their down-level domain controllers. It's 2018. We just released 2019 server. We think that it's time to start upgrading domain controllers to 2016, and the data shows that more and more customers are. So in the future, we're going to try to steer people away from certificate trust and focus on key trust because it takes issuing certificates to those end users out of that picture, reducing the cost, reducing the overhead and the deployment needed for you guys to deploy. So the next thing is that we're also working on is the privileged access workstation, the PAL scenarios that we have for those tightly integrated admin workstations, that scenario. We're doing some investigative work now and hope to deliver some features that really cater to the actual PAL-SOL scenario for Secure Admin Workstation. Then after that, we have the Windows Hello security keys that Ava talked about. Where we're going with those, as we have a non-shared we're going to start on. We're going to look into that. We're also talking about hybrid Azure Active Directory join, to where we can also use FIDO keys and Windows Hello security keys with that. And then we're talking about, with FIDO being a modern authentication, there's a big challenge of all of you who are in a hybrid environment. I sign in with this great FIDO experience really quick, but I need to get access to my on-prem resources. We recognize that. We hear that loud and clear. A good portion of those 750 customers said we need that. We're hearing it, and we're working on a way to where when you sign in with a FIDO or Windows Hello security key, you'll be able to get single sign-on to on-prem Kerberos-based resources with just one sign-in into Windows. So that's a really big thing that we're looking for. And then extending remote desktop to using FIDO keys as well and Windows Hello security keys. Those are the big pillars that we have on our roadmap for move forward. So are we heading in the right direction? Yeah? All right. So what I'd like to end with here is some go-dos. So this is where I might get some boos and hisses, and that's okay. So we've said this for a while, but virtual smart cards on Windows 10. Please preface Windows 10. Virtual smart cards on Windows 10 is heading to a path of deprecation. Please do not deploy virtual smart cards on Windows 10. It might stop working on you. Now, we're going to give customers plenty of time to get off of it, but new deployments are kind of like going backwards. The other thing is that when we originally launched Windows Hello, we had this idea of a convenience pin, which is really a password stuffer. Takes your password and obfuscates the fact that you're signing in with a password by using your biometrics or your PIN. In domain join devices, in domain join environments, we are going to deprecate convenience pin because convenience pin does not get you closer to passwordless. It still depends on your password. Again, with Virtual Smart Card, we're going to give you plenty of opportunity to get off of it. But if you're all using convenience pin in your domain environment, start looking at Windows Hello. There is an on-prem deployment of Windows Hello. There's also our hybrid and cloud versions of Windows Hello. Get to a strong two-factor credential. And then we've announced this for a while. It was on last Ignite. We're just making sure everybody knows that there was an old way to deploy Windows Hello using System Center. That is actually going to be unsupported as of November of this year. So hopefully you've already moved off of that and you got that message. We've been promoting that very hard in these last few months. And then Windows Hello security keys. Abba, you want to speak to the public preview that we have coming up?
Yeah, so we'll be starting with the public preview early next year. I know all of you have been waiting for this preview. I know we've been restrictive in the number of people who could try it out. But I'm happy to announce that in Q1 of next year, we will be extending that out for public preview. You would be able to go into your Azure portal, enable this for your tenant, and try these out. We'll also be starting, like Mike mentioned, a lot of work on getting single sign-on to your on-prem resources. So I really look forward to all of you joining that public preview and giving us a lot of feedback.
So start planning. The next thing is all of this is a means to an end of RID passwords. Start planning your passwordless deployment. In our docs, I'll give you the URL that you can get to all the Windows Hello docs. We just recently published a kind of a passwordless playbook of how to start going about password. I will tell you, we've been working at Microsoft on passwordless for almost 10 years. So it's not a weekend project, just so you know. You have to start early because you're going to find that with passwordless, you have to go across your org chart and down your org chart because everybody uses their device differently. And you need to know what apps they're using. You need to know how many credentials they have and how many are IT admins. IT admins. Yeah. Guess what, guys? We are the worst offenders of passwords. We have so many passwords. So we need to start early. You need to start getting that data back in so you know where to start and where to look. And this guide will let you do it. So some of the session resources I wanted to show you here is the passwordless session was recorded. That was with Alex and Manini. We also have a good friend of ours and colleague, Steve. Steve is going to talk about replacing passwords with new options for Microsoft. So that is today at 4. Today at 4. And then our content, that URL. That is the official URL for all Windows Hello content, and our passwordless strategy was published last week. It's in there, and it's a methodology that helps you divide and conquer and slice down this huge, huge mountain of passwordless into little digestible chunks to give you an idea of how to approach it. It's a framework that you can then adopt, and it's a repeatable thing. So once you do it for one department, you know you're going to get better and better, and it's going to become easier. So that's the thing, what we did, the password strategy. We also heard you loud and clear. How does Windows Hello work? How does the authentication work? How does device registration work? All of those things, we heard those loud and clear. We have a technical deep dive section on there that has data flow diagrams of device registration and all the different device types, whether you're Azure AD joined, hybrid Azure AD joined. We have in there what Windows Hello provisioning looks like, how that works. We also have what the authentication flows look like. All of that information is there in diagrams, and we actually walk you through the entire flow. And then Azure AD single sign-on deployment guides. We have a lot of people who have hybrid environments, but they're using Azure AD joined devices, and they're saying, when I try to access on-prem resources, it fails, or it's asking me for a password and stuff. So we actually have deployment guides there that you can now introduce to get you access to your on-prem resources from a single sign-on on those devices. And last, if we've missed something, or you have a question, or you want to give us feedback, these are the aliases that emails that you can contact us. These go directly to the product group. They don't go off into the place where left socks hang out. So this is how you can give us feedback. And please, please give us feedback. I'm totally okay with you telling me something stinks. I really am, because that's the only way we make it better, and if we don't make it better, you don't deploy it. And my goal is not to make a feature nobody deploys. We want you using Windows Hello. We want you to take that first step in your passwordless journey, get that alternative identity, and then start working towards getting your apps, lift and shift those up to the cloud, and eventually being able to turn off passwords for users. So with that, I'd like to thank all of you for showing up. Again, we'll be out in the lobby. We'll also be at the Windows Hello booth. And we want to thank you very much for attending and hope you enjoy the rest of Ignite and enjoy tonight's event.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming out.